Hello, podcast fam, and welcome to the Pic-a-Flic podcast, a review show that covers both film and TV. If you're familiar with the podcast, welcome back. Grab a snack, relax your back, and cut yourself some slack. As you all know, February is Black History Month, the shortest month of the year, and this year in particular is quite important for a big reason. 100 years ago, a man by the name of Carter G. Woodson launched Negro History Week, which took place during the birthday week of historical figures such as Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. The point of this is pretty self-explanatory: incorporating Black history into educational or community studies. It wouldn't be until the year 1976, 50 years ago, that Negro History Week became the month that we all know of today. And for this occasion, I picked out 3 movies to cover on the pod. Each of these movies come from different decades and are richly diverse in genre. Kicking things off is a movie that's often regarded as a biting satire on a certain movie-making town that can make one a star and could also break them just as easily. Hollywood Shuffle was a passion project from actor and comedian Robert Townsend in his directorial debut. The film is an underdog story when you read into how it got made. As an indie film with a meager budget of $100,000, most of which came from pre-approved credit cards, Townsend relied heavily on film stock footage for some scenes. And the film shoot, which mostly took place on the weekends, lasted roughly a week and a half in total and was spread across a 2-year period due to Mr. Townsend's busy touring schedule on the stand-up circuit. In turn, the film released in March 1987 to positive critical reception from critics. Roger Ebert referred to the movie as an artistic compromise but a logistical triumph, while Richard Harrington of the Washington Post called it a funny, poignant, and technically proficient film. There were also some criticisms about the film, which I will delve into later, but box office-wise, the film performed modestly well. Definitely an easy task with a nearly non-existent budget, grossing $5.4 million overall. Additionally, the film received the Best First Feature nomination at the Independent Spirit Awards in 1988. But enough of the factoids. You're probably wondering, what is this movie about if you aren't familiar with it? And I'm glad you asked. Let's take a look, shall we? Townsend plays Bobby Taylor, a down-and-out fast food worker who goes out to audition for a role as a pimp in an over-the-top blaxploitation film. And that's where one person like Bobby would go wrong. Those kinds of movies were way out of style by that point, but one of the few films to mimic that style in the 80s era being The Last Dragon.
Am I the meanest? So now am I the prettiest?
While he's excited for it, an eclectic cast of characters are mixed as he begins to question whether it's worth taking on the part. Bobby's girlfriend, mother, and little brother, respectively played by actors Anne Marie Johnson, Starletta DuPois, and Craigie Johnson, are all supportive of his audition journey, even though a lot of them know that it is pretty hokey. Then you have the skeptics who openly call out the grossly stereotypical material, including his grandmother, played by Helen Martin of 227 fame, and Roy Fagan as an uptight man in the audition room. Or so we think he is.
Only an Uncle Tom would do this shit. They just looking for somebody to sell out. Sell out? The only role they gonna let us do is a slave, a butler, or some street hood or something. Don't sell out, brother. Don't be a butler or a slave.
Jesse Wilson. Jesse Wilson, you're next.
That's me. Good luck, brother.
As this is a satire, the movie operates on a story with intermission-like skits or vignettes interspersed throughout. Despite Townsend holding it down behind the camera lens, he got some assistance with the screenplay from the man, the myth, and legend himself, Keenan Ivory Wayans, who also stars as Bobby's petty co-worker. You can tell Wayans had a hand in the skits in particular because it precisely matches his own projects. From I'm Gonna Get You Sucker to Don't Be a Menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. And adding it to his involvement is appearances from 5,000 Wayans brothers and sisters that can make up an entire NAACP delegation squad. I'm only kidding, folks, it's just Damon and Kim. There's other familiar actors that appear as well, including John Witherspoon as Bobby's boss, and, in a flashback scene, a cameo from Paul Mooney as one of the presidents of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
We felt we had to put our foot down by making Bobby Taylor an example. We feel that black actors should not have to accept these stereotype roles, such as crying slaves, tar babies, jungle bunnies. And I say that as long as black actors play these roles, they'll never play the Rambos until they stop playing the Sambo.
However, the most impactful moment of the movie belongs to supporting player David McKnight as Uncle Ray, who gives Bobby a bit of advice on how to navigate his feelings of doubt and guilt.
I stopped believing in me. Started listening to all those other people tell me what I couldn't do kept listening and listening until one day I started believing it. And I quit. Bobby, there ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Beyond this are biographical elements of Townsend's life. The TV character of the infectiously loony Batty Boy, which thankfully did not go in the direction where I thought it was going with that name, is apparently based on Townsend's childhood interaction with Good Time star Jimmy Walker. You know him from his classic quote, well, let's just say that Mr. Walker wasn't the dynamite guy audiences came to know and love, but rather a piece of shit to the kids he visited. This was best represented in the Batty Boy character in the film, jiving on the telly and very arrogant to people off screen. Additionally, there is another audition sequence where the white producers are desperately seeking the new Eddie Murphy, as he was the black headlining movie star of the decade. He was also buzzed with Townsend and Wayans, and this particular part of the movie led to a back and forth between the two on whether it should be even included or not. But Townsend went out, and in the grand scheme of things, Murphy liked the scene, and Townsend got to direct his next stand-up movie, Raw, which would become the highest-grossing theatrical stand-up movie for some years. Now, with this in mind, let me tell you what I enjoyed about Hollywood Shuffle the most. It's funny! The humor in certain segments may be hit or miss, the biggest miss for me being the film noir sequence of the movie. It definitely overstays its welcome, but the satire element is on point. There are two scenes that really stand out in context of the satire. First, the black acting school scene, which starts out as a slave movie, turns out to be a commercial that demonstrates how to act black in film.
Hi, my name is Robert Taylor, and I'm a black actor. I had to learn to play these slave parts, and now you can too, at Hollywood's first black acting school. It teaches you everything. Learn Jive Talk 101.
You motherfucking jive turkey motherfucker.
All right, that's good. You work. All right, you try it.
You fucking mothers.
No, that's wrong. Watch me, man. Just be cool. Jive turkey motherfucker.
Another funny segment is sneaking in the movies.
Welcome to Sneaking in the Movies. My name is Speed, and this is my homeboy Tyrone, and we are like movie critics and shit. Well, not really. Peep this. Each week, me and my boy, we go to different theaters and stuff and sneak in and check out the movie. Then we come back and tell y'all what's up, like if y'all should pay money and shit.
Siskel and Ebert, these two are not. Mystery Science Theater 3000, I hardly know them. Someone out there, somewhere, should commission a full series where two guys like these sneak into a theater and provide commentary throughout. Could you imagine them looking at films we've gotten in recent years, from a gem like Sinners to Oscar-baiting movies like The Greatest Showman? Let's get a show like this running pronto, and ideally one that isn't picked up by Tubi or the Zeus Network. Reverting back to my earlier notes, there were some criticisms about the film. These negatives mostly targeted the stereotypical jokes slanted towards women and gay men, particularly the inclusion of the effeminate male hairdresser and Bobby's mimicking of his personality. And in a sense, I agree with the criticism. While the satire on some of these stereotypes were well written, others were definitely not so well written. In a matter of time, such pieces of humor are dated in retrospect, but in a slight defense that's not condoning those bits, relatively tame in comparison to the raunchier comedies of that decade, namely Revenge of the Nerds and Porky's. All in all, this is a film with highs and lows that runs all over the place, but its messaging still holds true to this very day. On the Pic-a-Flician rating scale at 5 popcorn buckets, I'll give Hollywood Shuffle a 4 out of 5. It's funny, insightful, and I recommend it to those who are trying to get into the line that movie business. And that is a wrap on this episode. Next up on the Black History Month calendar, I'll be taking a look at Judas and the Black Messiah, which is a more recent film about the Black Panther movement of the 60s, and there will be another movie to follow after that. But until then, if you want to be in the know for when these new episodes release, be sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to said shows, and you can tell a friend to tell another friend who knows another friend down the block to check out the pod. All support and feedback is appreciated. If you're listening on YouTube and you enjoyed this episode, make sure you smash that like button, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. And if you want to follow us on social media, we can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and I guess TikTok under the username handle at Pic-a-Flic Pod. That is at PICAFLICPOD. And if review log can get your thing, then you may be familiar with Letterboxd, where I'm doing a lot of non-audio exclusive reviews for Black History Month under the aforementioned Pic-a-Flic Pod username. So be sure to follow me there if you use that platform. Once again, thank you all for tuning in as always, and until the next one, this is the Western Wonder, shuffling out. Peace.
Bye, have a great time.